behalf of Eugene, who's taping. Say hi, Eugene.
Hi.
And Sue.
Hello.
Who's behind Eugene and hiding. And myself, Anthony Silva. We are going to explain to you guys the concept of latent heat released from freezing water. So what we have are two bowls. One filled with a solution of salt mixed with water and ice to bring the temperature below zero and not cause freezing. And then we have our second bowl filled with deionized water, and we're going to dunk it in here to decrease the temperature of this water. And then we'll use some condensation nuclei to promote freezing from this bowl, and hopefully the latent heat released from the freezing of the water will be transferred to this big bowl and cause its temperature to go up. Alright, so we're going to sit this second bowl and let it float in the solution until the water inside it reaches the same temperature as the water in the blue bowl. So we'll give it a few minutes. Alright, that's a wrap for now.
Okay.
Okay, so we've removed the ice out of the bowl so that we can see the temperature on a thermometer. And as you can see, the temperature is just below 0 Celsius. And so we're hoping that in a few minutes the temperature in our smaller bowl, which is this guy over here, the water temperature in this smaller bowl will be the same as the water temperature outside. Now we're ready to proceed with phase 2 of our experiment. We've taken the ice out of our blue container so that we can see much better. And now what we're going to do is we're going to add some condensation nuclei into our smaller bowl. And for this experiment we're going to try using dirt as our condensation nuclei. So hopefully, once we add our condensation nuclei in, it should initiate freezing in the smaller bowl. So here goes nothing. And voila! Nothing happens. Cut! That's up! Alright, so we've added our condensation nuclei, and you can see that tiny ice crystals are starting to form now. In fact, if you look at the bottom, you can see little needles of ice forming. If you give it a few minutes, the freezing will progress. There'll be more crystallization, and eventually, or theoretically, all the water in this small bowl should be turned into ice. Now, while that's happening, as ice is being formed, latent heat energy is being released due to the change in phase. So as ice is being formed in this smaller bowl, latent heat energy is flowing out into the big bowl, and some of that energy is being transferred into heat, into sensible heat, causing the temperature of the water in the blue bowl to go up. We should see this eventually.
Okay.
Pretty much, yeah.
Started.
Well, let's do a time sequence. Okay, so
Can you hold it against the light?
Wow.
Good job, guys.
Woohoo.
okay, one reason why we needed condensation nuclei in the form of dirt was that the deionized water that we used freezing would not take place in it unless there were little particles on which the ice crystals could nucleate and then grow.